Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special day. Obviously, if you don't already know, and I want to say a big thank you to all of the awesome birthday wishes that I have gotten on social media. I'm sorry I have not responded. There has been a lot of them. And if I'm red in the face, it's because guess what a 53-year-old does? He mops on his birthday, because that's exactly what I just finished doing. I'm cleaning the place. We have family coming over for the weekend. My awesome nephew and sister-in-law are staying over this weekend. So it's we gotta get ready and the house got to get clean. But for the next 90 minutes, folks, we have a lot to get into. Some scandal. Obviously, if you don't know, Sony's servers were breached again, and apparently a ransom group has threatened to release all this data. PlayStation is obviously involved. Another hackathon 2000. Who knows? Hopefully, I don't put my credit card on Sony's anymore. I haven't in years. I just buy when I'm going to buy it, I buy it and take it, and that's it. We're going to get into Hellblade 2, folks. Guess what? It seems like the game is done because, well, Ninja Theory told us that they got every one of the developers together for what they call a playthrough of the completed game. Now, of course, they didn't say what game, and the screen was blurred. So, I mean, is it safe to assume there, Fuzzy Belvedere, that they were playing Hellblade 2 that might make an appearance at this year's Game Awards? And you know what's going to be in tow? Actual combat gameplay that people have been asking for and swear that are not going to be a part of this release. Folks, I'm here to tell you, I have on good authority that we are going to be not only blown away by what we're seeing, but we are going to be blown away by how big this game actually is. And the combat is a big part of that. I can't wait to see it actually in person. Hopefully we do get that at the Game Awards. Fuzzy Belvedere, good morning, sir. How you feeling?
Good morning. Glad to be here with you guys. Man, if you thought last week was a pretty decent news week, this one's just getting started. It's already starting to be a good one. So yeah, oh man, got a lot to get into. Still getting through Starfield and looking forward to Forza. Man, this is like the happiest time right now of the year. So
yeah, I'm going to tell you this. We have, again, there's, when I was preparing the show, I sent you guys the show notes super late last night because I was going back and forth on what we could talk about. And of course, as always, I'm going to have to pull an audible on some of the topics because besides the Ninja Theory conversation, Jim Ryan is out there, folks. He did an interview. I watched the new Destin Legary video that he posted this morning. I gotta tell you, man. Look, I'm a supporter of all consoles. I have a PlayStation 5 for the over-the-shoulder, story-driven, adult-themed games with graphics that are movie-like. Right? That's why I subscribe to Sony. That's why I'm a fan of The Last of Us and Horizon and Uncharted and things of that nature. Ghost of Tsushima, things of that nature. This is what I own a PlayStation for. But I gotta tell you, man, if you watch the video, and I watched it twice, I'll throw it in the chat so you guys can go check it out. And again, Destin Legary doesn't need my help. The guy has 100,000 subscribers. He doesn't need Mr. Boomstick's help. The video was really good, and he does pose some serious concern for what Sony, or more so, what PlayStation is actually going to look like. But before we get into all that, Web Dave, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? Welcome.
I'm feeling good, man. I had a great show last night and ready for a good show today. Oh my goodness, it's crazy
guests
news
last night there, sir.
Huh?
Hey, you got a lot of guests last night.
We did. We had a packed panel, and it was so much fun. I tell you, it was great. It's up now if anybody wants to check it out. But I tell you, being that you're the birthday boy, isn't it nice to know, and you will when you read your super chats, that family has nothing but respect for you. That's all I'll say. Read your super chat there, but when you get a chance from family.
We'll read to it in a second. Again, folks, thank you so much for all of the birthday wishes. I will get to them momentarily. Listen, Fuzzy's here, Web Dave's here, I'm here. We're going to give you an amazing show. The crazy one, well, like adults, he's doing stuff for the house. I think he's doing stuff with his kitchen, right? as we speak. He should be here momentarily.
He's
We will get into that. I do want to shout out Lethal Papa, not only because he's the world's best modder, a personal friend of mine, actually a great friend of the entire community. Puts it, he slaps the sausage on the table and tells you about himself. He ain't got no problem with that. But he dropped a message, folks. This is pretty interesting. And shout out to again Lethal Papa for it. Bethesda is reporting that Starfield is going to make them $1 billion, which is that's crazy. This game is an Xbox Game Pass. It's an Xbox Game Pass for PC, but the sales numbers are going through the roof. It's making its way, I think, to the normies. And when you consider that this game is going to break $1 billion, it makes me as a fan very excited. But you know what it actually does for me, Fuzzy Belvedere? It cements the fact, and we're going to get into it, because, IGN, well, they're the Earth Defense Force, at least IGN here in this country. IGN Japan, they're legit. Not so much IGN, West Coast, because they did a story about their major concern for, of course, Elder Scrolls 6 being exclusive. Oh my God, it's exclusive. What are we going to do about it? And I didn't bother reading through the whole article because, it's clickbait and I don't want to click on it. So I just read the title from afar and we'll talk about it. But Fuzzy, you know what? For me, what $1 billion Starfield does, and again, I think it cements the conversation that Xbox and their first-party games, meaning Bethesda, don't need Sony and their players. Sorry. Sony, you're the market leader now. Take a picture, write a memoir, videotape yourself in first place, because I think, honestly, we are witnessing, I don't want to say collapse, because collapse would be indicative of failure. Sony isn't going to fail, but Sony is going to hit third place because they are on a trajectory thanks to this new interview, which again, we're going to encompass all of this new information into one giant a boomstick sandwich, if you will. Pause. But Fuzzy, when you hear $1 billion is being made by a game that you can get, I hate the word free, but it's in a service. Mm-hmm. Does that cement the fact that Xbox and their first-party games don't need Sony?
It does, especially when it's a game like Starfield, and in the essence of being that great AAA experience that everybody's looking for, an awesome RPG. Yeah, it only needs to be on the one platform to be able to succeed. And I think they only, like in the court documents, they only showed a projection of like 600 mil. So if they're already on their way to $1 billion, it goes to show that their hard work is paying off, and all of the, basically the acquisition of Bethesda is definitely paying off, probably a lot sooner than some of the executives internally thought. But at that point, you don't have to worry about making it for the other platform. Also, it I'm pretty sure will guarantee a sequel for down the road type of thing. But that's probably 10 years out or so. We got a Fallout and the Elder Scrolls to come out prior to that. But yeah, overall, it's more than enough margin and profit for just the Xbox platform and PC, which that's what people have been saying for a while. When some of the Sony fans were like, "Oh no, it's going to be a mistake to miss out on the market leader," and it's like, no, you don't have to, and this is evidence of that. So good to see.
Yeah, and again, we want to give perspective and credit to where it comes from. Alita Papa also included who is reporting. It's Insider Gaming IG on Twitter, and according to the lead story, it says Bethesda expected to make almost $1 billion on Starfield. Inside Gaming, according to financial projections released as part of the data leaks, Bethesda is expected to make nearly $1 billion on Starfield. Of course, that comes the way of Inside Gaming, so credit where credit is due. And obviously, there are some detractors, people coming out and saying, well, that's a projection. And that's, of course, including DLC. Look, folks, here's the thing. Just look at the numbers. The numbers, I'll say this, Web Dave. What we're witnessing, like literally right now, are two companies. One's going to the penthouse, and the other one's going down to the basement. And I'm not being disrespectful in any way. I'm just saying that is what is going. If you have any doubt as to my claims to Sony's change in ideology, go listen to Destin Legary's new video from today. He breaks down all of these quotes from Jim Ryan. And some of the quotes are pretty damning. One of which is that they want to increase their capital gain through microtransactions. That's where they want their bread and butter to be. They also want to, of course, make gas games. And in the interview, he specifically talks about bringing major first-party franchises and IPs to a gas game perspective. So we already know that Bungie said, nah, fam, cut out that the Uncharted factions. The factions deal. Factions 2 game that was in development. So that's canceled or postponed. We know, Web Dave, that they're doing a Horizon multiplayer. I like the single player. I loved the first one. Didn't care so much for the second one. I think it might have been like all the bugs that I had. Still a good game. I'm not going to front. I don't know if I see where we get into a multiplayer situation with that. Let's talk about it, brother. We'll start with, of course, the potential of $1 billion for Starfield. I think that's a really big. I mean, that's huge. The game is game of the year for many people, including myself. The game is a title that no one can stop talking about, even with big games coming out in 2023. It is the talk of the town for a whole mess of reasons. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's definitely on track to make that and more. So I don't see the juggernaut that is Starfield stopping anytime soon, especially now in its infancy. And we're still finding out more and more people are posting different things or events that have come up to that like, how did you get that quest? How did you get that planet? What is that? You have different places in the game that we just are still unexplored because the game is so massive and so big. There's so much there. So there's going to be continuous people going back to it. And even if you go off and play another game, you're still going to come back to Starfield. Plus, we have DLC coming, and it may not be the only DLC coming in the future. So there's also going to be all the mods that are going to be coming out. So the game clearly can get to $1 billion pretty easy, I believe. And then of course, people, can. I got a PlayStation. I want it to succeed. I want them to be there because the reason we have Microsoft doing so good now is because of what Sony was doing so good the last couple of years. That's the reason we're at where we're at now, is because of competition. That's what breeds
Indeed
this hard work. I don't think Sony's gonna completely fall back. I think they have some misdirection, but in the course of time, as they start to stumble or whatever, and you can say, oh, they have this and this and Wolverine and all that, but none of those have dates. None of those have a time frame coming out. Only one is Spider-Man 2. And from people that have played it already, it's a Spider-Man game. Part 3. It's, nothing big, new, innovative. It's not going to change. Not going to be next level, super graphics, or it's Spider-Man. a one and done, which is good for people who enjoy playing it. But you're not going to be going back over and over and over and over to it. It's just not going to happen. So I don't foresee Sony, falling through the wayside, but they can definitely, get, get themselves in a pickle, and that's kind of where they're at now, because Microsoft can close the gap in a big way by the end of this year and all of next year with what we know they have in the burners. Plus, the ABK deal is going to be done soon. Once that's done, the floodgates are open. Some people think that we should wait and let it stew for a while before they make any big moves. That is not going to happen. As soon as this deal is done, within the weeks and months after, you're going to start hearing about them buying this studio, that studio, integrating this, moving this team here. Those kind of things that they really couldn't talk about before, those kind of things are going to start coming out. Some of those things are already, quote unquote, in the works, on paper, ready to go, ready to submit as soon as this deal is done and they can move on to the next project. So trust me, folks, you want to hold on to your hats. Microsoft is making some big moves because they want to be the big player in this pond. Satya sees it, and that man knows how to make money. So I'm telling you,
Amy Hood sees it as well, and obviously she's the one that approves the spending. Yes. And if they're going to continue to spend, they need to obviously, make some significant ROIs, and that's of course return on investments. And I saw a lot of people this weekend talking about the return on investments. I didn't realize that we had so many stockbrokers in the community. It's pretty crazy. Listen, we are going to continue this conversation, but I do got to catch up on super chats. We have quite a bit of them. Sith Lord drops a super sticker of a birthday cake, brother. Thank you so much for that. 150 super sticker. Appreciate the generosity. My brother in the chat, Neo Mental, drops a $2 super chat and says, "Old fart." Yes, I'm 53. Damn it. Ray Oid drops a very generous $20 super chat, brother. Thank you so much. His happy birthday, Boom. Thank you so much for the kind words and, of course, the birthday wishes and the generosity, Ray. Definitely appreciate that. Drawn TJ drops not one but two super chats. One of $2 says, "Hello, guys," and hello to you, Drawn TJ. Second one of $5. He says, "Hi, hope Bill buys the World of Tanks creator. They own IP and studios of Mechasoul. They are private company and are only $2 billion." It's funny because during the Japan, the Tokyo Game Show, where Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer were there, they were asked a lot of questions. And of course, we're going to try whatever we don't get to today. Obviously, we're going to get to tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast. And obviously, there's still 4 shows for the remainder of the week. We're going to get into all of that. Again, there is so much news. It's just bonkers. Helva has been a channel member for 24 months. Thank you so much for the generosity. They say simply happy birthday. So thank you so much for the birthday wishes. John Wolf, our very good brother, drops a $2 super chat and says, "Happy B-Day, Boom. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you as well. And thank you for the birthday wishes." Helva drops of another $250 super chat and says, "Happy birthday. Thank you so much for the additional $250 super chat." Hargeet Chani, our very good friend, drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Happy birthday, Double Barrel Gaming. Been concerned about this push by PlayStation for gas, pushing single-player devs to make live service games rarely works. Very concerned about their upcoming games." And that's a fantastic point. And I want to bring in Crazy Lou Gaming. First of all, Crazy Lou, brother, thank you so much for joining us. Hargeet brings up an amazing point. Now, in this interview, Jim Ryan talked about he's the head of Sony. He's here to make money for investors. He talked about investing. He talked about using the power of their IPs for gas games. He talked about the power of their IPs being used for, of course, microtransactions. He wants to double down on making money. This is the new PlayStation. This is not the Sean Layden PlayStation where they double down on single player, sell you the box, sell you the game in the box, and you go. And they make a whole bunch of money. Now, granted, the PlayStation 5, Praise Lou Gaming, is still selling like hotcakes, and why wouldn't? It's a great system. But Hargate brings up a great point. For someone who is a diehard Sony fan and is looking for an experience kind of like what we saw from Starfield. Starfield is very much a Bethesda game, but the way the graphics are, the way the story is told, the way that it really focuses on environment and atmosphere, that has a. I'm not saying that they took anything from Sony, but as someone who appreciates Sony's first-party games, who does these things, it made me appreciate Starfield even more because the game isn't a typical Bethesda game. It's about to make it's expected or projected to make $1 billion. That's a really big deal for a new IP, for a company that was struggling and that was forced to make these gas games. Look what happened to Bethesda. They were forced to make Fallout 76. They were forced to make a multiplayer version of Wolfenstein. Right? We saw what happened with that. As a matter of fact, I think that there's something that we could look at, and I don't want to say they were forced, but they did something. I'm talking about the team that brought us Redfall. Redfall, the team that brought us that game, they're a single-player developer. And if they would have stayed making if Redfall would have been a straight-up single-player, story-driven game that we know that they can tell, it turned out a lot better. Hargeet asked the question, Crazy Lou Gaming. He has concerns about what Sony is going to do, and Jim Ryan just doubled down on it. What are your thoughts on the new interview?
Let me tell you something, Mr. Boomstick. First things first, happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much.
Man, happy 53-year-old birthday. Hey, man, I had to dress up for the occasion. I put on my birthday suit, to celebrate. So I'm going to turn on the camera so everybody can see. Nah, I'm just kidding.
There we go.
I dressed up real nice.
I'm disappointed. You said birthday suit. I expect you to be naked. Damn.
Nah, I'm just messing. But man, the real question is, what games? What games? I mean, seriously, what games are you showing, Jimbo? We have not seen pretty much anything. What are you showing us? I mean, what games? You're talking about all these gas games. You're talking about all this cool stuff, but where are they? All we saw was baby steps, which I don't even know what the heck that was. I saw that. I was like, what is this? Guy walking, that's it. That's what we're gonna start playing, like a walking simulator type of thing. I don't know. But what are your games? Okay, we saw Foam Stars, which it's cool. It looks like kind of like a what's it called? Splatoon. Okay, we saw that. We saw, what was it? Hellbender? Was it Hellbender? That was another one they showed. But either way, though, what games though? Where are your games at? I mean, seriously, I'm like Hargreet. You love your single player games. I love them too. I'm a big fan of Sony IPs, but I'm really sad that they're focusing on something else. And for those gas games, right? Here's the thing. It depends on how popular you can make them, right? For example, you got Fortnite. We saw Fortnite come out right after PUBG. And when we sit down and we look what PUBG looks like compared to Fortnite, I prefer 10 million times Fortnite. Why do I prefer 10 million times Fortnite? Because, hey, they're using their resources. They're upgraded to Unreal Engine 5. Yet PUBG is still on Unreal Engine 4, which I looked it up the other day. I said, what engine does PUBG use? I'm like, man, they're still on Unreal Engine 4. I mean, they should have updated that game to Unreal Engine 5. Not only that, people just pour content into that game. It's crazy. I mean, you got Marvel, you got Star Wars, you got all this stuff going into that game. So if you're going to make gas games, right, which you really need to know how you're going to focus, where you're going to go with these games, and what content you're going to put on there so people can hop on, enjoy them, and have some fun. Because, hey, okay, I understand you want to make multi-transactions and all that stuff in there, but at the end of the day, are people going to be happy with that? Because we got a lot of people out there that literally, I remember Battlefront 2. I don't know if you guys remember, they had a bunch of
the loot boxes and stuff.
Yes, that was crazy. People hopped into it. They literally had to take that out.
because of it.
Yep, they had to take that out. So that is the question that Sony needs to focus on. What are they going to pour in there for people to say, hey, let me go invest. Let me go see what do you have here. Let me see what cool stuff you're going to bring to the table. Because seriously, I don't know. I don't know what Jim wants to do with this console for this generation. I'm one that's been saying it for a while. Even King has been saying it. If Sean Layden was there, things would have been different. We would have gotten a lot of single player IPs. We could have gotten a lot of great stuff. But with this guy, oh man, my doubts are going each time low and low. I mean, the controller, that new Elite controller is, oh my god, that battery is lesser than the $60 controllers. Then you have the new PSP, which is it's crazy. You have to have your console on. So if I'm from DR, if the power shuts out, I mean, I can't use my PSP where I'm going. So that's a no buy for me right there. And with these service games, I mean, I don't know, Sony. You're taking a big risk there. I mean, if I were you, I would still work on my single player content. Come back, release one gas game, see how it goes, and go step by step. But you're releasing, how many was it? Like 10 of them? I think they mentioned like 10, wasn't it? They're producing 10. I don't remember that they're producing a whole bunch of gas games, and it's gonna be crazy.
I think they said they had 12 gas games in development.
But like I said, if they don't want to put content in there, what they're gonna do with it, it's gonna be a big mess for them. So it's a big risk. If I was them, I would just focus on the single player games and keep delivering them, and release a gas game once in a while, see how it goes, and see how your studios can take it on forward. But it's crazy. Sony for me it's like right now. It's a roller coaster that's gonna pretty much one day that screw's gonna loosen up, and they're just gonna go flying out there and crash. That's what I'm seeing with Sony.
Look, Sony's going to be okay. They're going to continue to make money. They have a loyal fan base, almost to the point of fault, in my opinion. Again, it's like, you didn't see anybody bat an eye when they raised their subscription service for the Extreme for $40. Like there was very little backlash at all. The media was like, oh yeah, look, it's being raised. These are the prices. And next day you didn't hear anything. Because obviously, like places like IGN and GameSpot and PC Mag, we know that 40% of their ad source is PlayStation. So they're not going to rock the boat, right? They're not going to, anger, the PlayStation gods, because then obviously they may not be able to exist, because 40% of your income from one place. Well, there you go. Look, I'm sure that some of these gas games are going to be good. What are they? I have no idea. I know that Jim Ryan is focusing on maximizing profits. I know, which is a business, folks. Like everyone says, this is not show friends, it's show business, right? So, they're out to make money. Now, how they make that money, well, that's entirely up to you, because for me, like, I canceled my subscription. I just won't have PlayStation Plus anything, because I'm not paying that. First of all, if I were to pay for anything, it would have been forced to pay $80 to have like a cloud saves, which is, again, no one talks about this. No one tells Sony this is absolutely egregious that we have to have this $80 a year service, and that we can't stack if we can get it cheaper, because you put the banana in the tailpipe, right? But I need this for cloud saves. Come on, man, that's egregious. So again, for me, I'm going to deal with Sony by arm's length. I'm buying Spider-Man 2, totally excited for that game. What else is there? I don't know. I don't know what 2024 brings. But it's going to be what it's going to be. Folks, what I want to talk about next, and this comes the way of Ecstasies, and I'll start with you, Crazy Lou. Obviously, Ecstasies is a Xbox podcaster from the Spanish community. He's out of Spain. And he put out a tweet that was pretty interesting. So I know Dave's been talking about this on his show. I know Fuzzy Belvedere and I have been talking about this. We're all wondering when the onslaughts of Activision Blizzard games are going to be dropped into Xbox Game Pass, right? When is that going to happen? Is that going to be the question of the day? Crazy Lou Gaming is, will this be one of those defining moments in Xbox Game Pass where we see a monster influx? Because people are still playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It's a 360 game, and people when Microsoft reactivated all those servers, people were like, playing in an abundance, even more so than Warzone, because people really like these old games. Interesting enough, folks, check this out. Someone went to purchase Black Ops 2. Now, I don't know if it was Ecstasies or someone that he knew that posted to him. And when he went to pay for it, when he went to buy it with his credit card, he was going to, whoever it was that was going to buy the game, he was presented with this message. And it says this, folks, from the Microsoft or from the Xbox store. You'll receive this free item with your game subscription. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, proceed with the download. That's what it said. You will receive this free item with your subscription service, i.e. Xbox Game Pass. So the question of the day is, how close are we? Because I know Phil Spencer was asked about this, and he said, he goes, it's a bit of a transition. We can't just dump everything in. That's not the way it works. It's not like flipping a switch. But we're already starting to see that these messages are coming up. Hey, we're not taking your money. You already have Xbox Game Pass. Good on you. Download the game for you to use whenever you want. This is it may not be the biggest news of the day, but it's big news nonetheless. Talk about it.
I'm gonna have to look that up because what I'm seeing is it's kind of like from Brazil, I think it is, because it seems like você recebe este item gratuitamente com sua assinatura de jogos. So I'm gonna have to look that up. I think it's Brazil. I think.
Well, no, I have the translation in front of me. Yeah. It simply said you receive this item for free with your gaming subscription. Yeah. Continue to check out and use it forever.
So when will we see those games dump? It's like how Phil said, it's a lot of content. I mean, how many games does Activision Blizz have? A lot of games to dump into that Game Pass service. But the question is, what time period though, right? Would it be right after the deal closes in, or will we have to wait a couple months for them to stick a couple of them in there? But hey, Mr. Boomstick, I know sooner or later we're going to receive all that amazing content, because I think we were talking about it the other day. We were talking about on how that Sony, renewed their contracts with Microsoft, right? So I think the marketing rights literally went off, right? Didn't they? So basically,
that's the thing that we're everyone is guessing because no one's mentioning it, and it's funny enough, it didn't happen to have leak in the all of the documents that leaked about stuff that Microsoft's going in the background. We don't know. Again, it makes sense that if Sony signed a new 10-year deal for Call of Duty, when does that 10-year start? Does it start after the current contract? Does it start almost immediately when the deal is done? So does that void out the old contract? I'm going to be honest with you. It has not been talked about. Well, we've mentioned it, but I still think that if this deal is done in the first week of October, which it is expected to be literally signed, sealed, and delivered, I think there's still a chance to get Call of Duty 3, Modern Warfare 3 in Xbox Game Pass. I don't know. I'm more of a half full kind of a glass dude than more than half empty. So I'm still going to hold my breath. Hopefully I don't, keel over. I don't know. It's a good question there, Crazy Lou Game.
Yeah, because basically we don't know what happened to the old contract. Did they cancel it? Did they start a new one? Because since Microsoft is already proceeding with this, I mean, we noticed that Sony went right away there. I mean, they literally ran over there. I mean, as fast as they could. They ran over there and literally signed that contract. And basically, because since they had marketing rights for like 2024, was it 2025? The question is, did their contracts, did they cancel them? Did they start a new one? That's something that's in the air. We still don't know. So I think it could be a surprise. Like after the deal closes, we might see if the contracts have been renewed, that we might get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. But yeah, reading that news right there, it's interesting that we're getting, free content stuff with the subscription service. So that could mean that it could be renewed. The contract was renewed. They canceled the old one because they don't want to continue marketing Call of Duty. Why? Because since it's going to be on Microsoft, why the heck am I going to market my competition? That's how I think about it. So, I mean, I would have done the same thing if I was Jimbo. I would start a new contract and say, I don't want to keep on going with marketing rights because basically I'm just putting you guys on the market since I'm number one. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens and have to do a couple of research with that contract thing because we don't know what happened with the old contract. But for me, I think it's canceled and they renewed a new one, and we're gonna get all those games pretty soon on Game Pass. Sooner or later, I think by next year. Yeah. Basically, the beginning of next year, probably get a bunch of everything that's on that.
Maybe 20 at a pop, right? Like, could you imagine if listen, Call of Duty is a mega franchise. I don't really play online. I like what they're doing with the new stuff. They have a bunch of characters like Spawn as a part of it. It might make me want to play, but I'm not like a diehard Call of Duty guy. It's just not my bag. I'm more of a single player Call of Duty guy, but I think that you get all these drops in there and you're starting to see the messages come up with, hey, listen, this part of your service, just go continue through checkout, which means you're not paying anything. Dave, this again, it's on a small scale right now. It's only Black Ops 2, but I think that we're just seeing the trickle out of the faucet. There's going to come a point where someone's going to turn the faucet all the way on. It's just going to be, the floodgates are going to be open. What are your thoughts on this new information coming out of the way of ecstasies?
I think it's I guarantee you they have things in place, set up, ready to go, ready to drop as soon as they are able to officially say we own Activision Blizzard King. And once that happens, there's going to be there'll definitely be. It's not like you walk in the front door, get the keys, and they're off and running. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that can take place over time as far as getting things in certain order. There's certain people that have to be in place. Bobby needs to pack his boxes and get the truck back up to take all his office stuff out to move him on out of there. Because day one, Phil's in charge, and Phil makes the calls as to who gets what and what goes where. He said that clear, plain as day with the
he sure did.
Gary interview, and that was like, oh, so awesome to hear that. So yeah, we know it's we know these things are coming. I believe that it is true. I think there's probably more than we know, and it's not only games coming to Xbox, but I mean there's PC Game Pass, and one of the big games. Well, even Sarah was talking about one of the games they wanted to remake, redo, re-up, or continue as a StarCraft, like StarCraft 3. But imagine StarCraft 2 being fully compatible with the Xbox ecosystem, ready to go for a PC gamer that's nostalgic, that maybe can't get the old game to run because it's been a while, and not all the requirements are there, but you can play it in Game Pass flawlessly because on the back end they take care of all that. So those are such good possibilities that could happen with this, as well as so many more games, so many more. And they're not going to just throw the floodgates. A lot of people think, well, cool, if it happens tomorrow, then the next day I get Diablo 4. I don't think so. I think it's going to come for sure, but they don't need to just throw everything at us all at once. They can probably maybe give it to us as a Christmas present, maybe give it to us in Game Pass, at the beginning, like in February when they don't have a game coming out that's, first party, and then maybe in March or April, then we get a first party new game, that to just kind of, keep the cadence going to where you're like, I can't unsubscribe to Game Pass because there's so much good stuff coming that I've got to play, save myself some tons of money, and the choices are going to be there. So I think that I definitely think that it's going to happen. So for sure.
Well, I mean, look, you're right. They don't necessarily have to dump everything at once. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't. I would love just to see it because, folks, we're not going to talk about it today because we only have 90 minutes. Tomorrow's a 2-hour show. We're gonna break down because obviously, it's a really big topic to get into. The gaming media is afraid of what's going on with Xbox. They went from, oh, we need you guys to compete and be better as being the joke of the conversation to like legit afraid. They own Bethesda. They basically have the Western RPG taken care of. That is. I mean, listen. I know that CD Projekt Red still exists and they're amazing. Well, we got to call it like it is. I don't know if anyone saw the thing over the weekend. Capcom's CCO was like, yeah, we even if Microsoft did offer to acquire us, we would politely say no. We believe that we are on this, we're equals. But do you see all the deals coming out of Capcom? I mean, just I'm gonna do a broad stroke here, folks. Okay, I'm gonna do a broad stroke because Xbox in 2023 and beyond. If you are an Xbox fan, you have a lot to look forward to. They own Bethesda, right? They have a cloud deal with Ubisoft, one of the biggest publishers in gaming. Right now, what else is in that cloud deal? That cloud deal. Well, I'm sure a lot. I'm sure there's a lot. Like I said, I really, in my heart of hearts, believe Ubisoft Plus may not be announced now. That's coming to the service, like EA Play. There's no doubt about it. They have a working relationship, and more so, what does that working relationship look like? Is it going to include potential, first, like maybe exclusives? Does Splinter Cell become an exclusive for Microsoft? I don't know. I mean, we don't know what the contract is, but we know that they're going to be working hand in hand. They have this amazing working relationship with Capcom, one of the biggest Japanese publishers in the region. They're like this with Sega, and they're about to own Activision Blizzard King. And you know what's crazy, folks? You know what you don't hear in any of the sentences I talked about is where is Sony in all of this? They're nowhere to be found. That's right. The market leader, well, the current sitting market leader, may not be the market leader for much longer because look at what Xbox has going on. So we're going to get into why the media is afraid, why we've seen this. Why, again, you ask yourself as a gamer, why all this negativity towards Xbox? Aren't they just doing amazing things for their communities and for their fans? Yeah, they are. So why the negativity? Because they're afraid. They are afraid that the change is coming. And I'm not saying Sony's going anywhere. They are who we thought they were. They're going to continue to put out really great Spider-Man games and Uncharted games, and the next God of War should be just as good as the first two. But man, when you look at what Xbox has going on, mind you, there are games day and date from every one of those publishers in your service. And again, that's not Ubisoft because they have their own day and date stuff. But I'm telling you, Ubisoft Plus is around the corner, and it's going to be in our subscription that went up a couple of bucks. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your take on this, man. I mean, there really is a lot to unpack, but we're just starting to see the tip of the spear, if you will, with this Call of Duty Black Ops 2, one of the most popular Call of Duties. When you go to try and download it, apparently it tells you, no, you don't have to pay for it. It's part of your subscription. Continue to check out, which means when you check out, there's no dollars coming out of your account. This is the start of something special.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think the best thing about it is at least Xbox is giving those that are interested in making those purchases a heads up. Kind of like you would hate for them to, customers to go ahead and buy the game and then like less than 2 weeks later be like, oh, now it's part of the service that you already subscribed to, kind of thing. So it's nice that they're at least giving people a heads up. But yeah, it's a lot of the stuff is moving behind the scenes, and I kind of joked about this before with some people where technically you're not supposed to mingle or mess around with a company you're looking to acquire before the deal is official in case things should fall apart. But in a lot of cases, and even when I've been involved in similar situations where it was more automotive parts type stuff behind the scenes, but there were a lot of things that were done up to a point. So you would have basically, if we got to worry about transferring data from one drive to the next, everything is already packaged. So that way, as soon as the deal is signed, it's a matter of hitting a switch at that point. So a lot of stuff behind the scenes was probably in preparation for, like, I would say at least the past 3 or 4 months, if not for longer. to the point where once the deal was official, it's like, okay, here's this thumb drive. Okay, here's this connection. Here's the the link to do the peer-to-peer or whatever the case may be, as far as for some of the transfer of data and adding things to to the Game Pass portfolio and stuff like that. So it's great to see. I'm still on the fence on if we'll see the Modern Warfare 3 this year. A lot of conversations in the fact that it's in Sony. It's not in Sony's best interest to continue the deal as far as marketing it, because you're marketing a competitor.
Well, Jim Ryan actually said that, Fuzzy.
Yeah.
He said that when he was deposed, where it doesn't actually make financial sense for Sony to pay for the marketing rights, which they do, and it's a significant amount of money for a game that potentially is going to be looked upon as a quote unquote Xbox exclusive. It's not exclusive.
Yeah. And I think they're taking a 10% cut in the revenue from that game in that deal or something. And
they're getting less. Well, this is interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because with the Activision deal, they're getting a less intake. They took less, right? Normally it's it's 30%. They took 20%, right? Activision got 80, PlayStation got 20.
Yeah.
If they continue the deal with Activision gets 80, Sony gets 20. If they sign the new deal, which we know that they did with Microsoft, they get 30%. Like, it's the standard going rate for the industry, and Microsoft, as a corporation that now owns Activision, would get the 70. So it actually behooves them to take that additional 10%. Great point, Fuzzy.
But here's the caveat, I think, that might throw a monkey wrench into it. Like, if we look in the past of Sony, it's not necessarily Jim Ryan or anybody that's been in his position prior, like Sean Layton or anything. The higher ups at Sony have been known to be stubborn and bullheaded when it comes to things. Like, it took them forever to even acknowledge that they were hacked in 2011 or so, I think it was. So that previous hack during the PS3 era, it was like they waited almost a month before they pulled the plug, and then there was like a public apology type of thing. I guess for them kind of sitting on their hands for as long as they did. And they've done this before where they'll just even when it seems like it's the wrong move, they'll stick to it. Like the price hikes, and even though there wasn't as many of the PlayStation fans jumping up in arms as far as the pricing, but they didn't bother listening to it. It's like, hey, this is the price, you take it or leave it kind of thing. Except for the US, where our competitors at least on our heels right now type of thing. So they're notorious for being stubborn and not changing course. And sometimes it's to their benefit, sometimes it's to their detriment. This one might be to their detriment, but I feel that Jim Ryan's bosses will probably be like, you know what, stay the course, just whatever. We'll worry about it after the fact, or this will be the last year, the big hurrah with not necessarily them getting as much attention from Call of Duty or as much revenue, but this is probably going to be one of the last big I guess revenue streams for them as far as from this title, and they'll probably start dwindling from there on out. How fast, well, who knows? But yeah, I think they stayed a course. Modern Warfare 3, it'd be nice if it's in Game Pass day and date, but I won't be disappointed if it's not, because it'll eventually make it in there. It's just
So a lot of people in the chat
month.
are saying 3 to 4 months afterwards. Like I said, we don't know. It
Yeah.
would be pretty epic if at some point Microsoft does have like a little mini event once this deal is done, and in the little mini event they announce that Modern Warfare 3 is going to be a part, because it's going to move consoles, which is what they want to do. I know that they don't care where you play, but ultimately it's going to move consoles. It's going to move Series S consoles. And I've said, folks, go back months to when this deal was announced. When Microsoft is the owner and has a controlling say in what and how the marketing goes for Call of Duty, understand the power of this franchise. It could be everywhere, and it's going to remain everywhere, and that's great for gamers. great for everyone. You play wherever you want to play, on what console you want to play. Call of Duty, boom, it's there. But I'm here to tell you that when you can slap Call of Duty X on a box that has your console, whether it be an S, an X, a mid-generation refresh, something you like an Amazon stick that you plug into your TV, or a handheld that we know that they're working on thanks to the leaks, and you can somehow slap that Call of Duty whatever on the box, it is going to fly off the shelves because we've seen it happen. Look at what Sony did with the marketing with Call of Duty. It was on every box. Do you know how many people? Because again, we right here. First of all, we got 606 people here. A big thank you for checking out today's stream. If you're new, please consider subscribing. We're on the hunt for 14K. It would be awesome to hit that by the end of the year. But just imagine how many PlayStation 4s and 5s were sold based on the marketing for Call of Duty. How many normies, how many friends do you know? Not even who I know. How many friends do you know? I'm like, oh man, you see that Call of Duty on PlayStation? Wow, that's an amazing exclusive. You're like, what are you talking about? It's not an exclusive. Yeah, it is. It's on the box. They say it's exclusive. Exclusive hat. But they did it in a way where they tricked you. They fooled you. They're like, haha, we got you. You bought a console. I'm not saying Microsoft is going to do that. What it's going to say is include an Xbox Game Pass. People are like, I'm gonna buy the game. It's $70. I write in my system. I just gotta download for free. That's what people are gonna think. I'm telling you, it is going to happen. And the fact that we're already starting to see that there's wording in when you go to buy a game that's Activision owned, and it's telling you, no, son, don't spend any money. Just download. Go proceed to checkout. You'll be all right. You know, hello, that is phenomenal. Before we get into the other topic. We got to talk about Ninja Theory, folks. Let me tell you something. This playthrough party that they did, where they had the blurred out screen, man, when I saw that, I got so excited because I'm a big fan of Senua's Saga. The first one was amazing. Again, it's one of those games that you play it, and if you're just playing it on your TV, you don't get the experience if you put on headphones and you get a chance to really experience what they were trying to tell in regards to. It was a very, very deep story, but I think where it really does like touch a nerve, or at least it should be for you, is if you know anyone with mental illness, it depicts hearing the voices, and you hear it from two different. It's like you're hearing multiple voices. It's brilliant. It's so brilliant. It's giving me goosebumps just talking about it. So the game was great for what it did, right? We know that. The game fantastic. Made I think at the time it was like 24 people made this game or something obscene on a shoestring budget, no less, right? Well, this obviously is a bigger game. We saw that all of the participants in the making this game, they went to actual training for the mocap with the sword fighting and everything. This is going to be a big game, and they're playing through it, which tells me the game is done. And if the game is done, folks, I am full on steam ahead, believing that not only are we going to see this in the Game Awards, we're going to see actual combat gameplay that everyone has been waiting for. I think we even get a release date, and I think that release date is February 2024. But again, that's just my hot take. But let me catch up on the super chats, folks, and we will get into that. We have Game Shark drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Happy birthday, Boom! Much thanks to you and all of your guests for the genuine appreciation for gaming enjoyment, honesty, and integrity. You're the best, brother." Thank you. That's very kind words, and it is. I very much appreciate that. Of course, thank you for the birthday wishes. Lady Foxfire, how you doing, darling? Welcome as always. She drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Happy birthday, Boom. You have been so nice and awesome to me over the years. I still remember being in the panel with you on your first podcast." Yeah, so do I. Whenever you want to come back, please just DM me. We'll get you right back in here. Lady Foxfire is one of the community's absolute finest. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Kingfish 737, who's been a channel member, folks, for 20 months, says, "Happy birthday, Boom. We appreciate all that you do for us as gamers. Hashtag gaming is for everyone. Indeed, it is. And brother, thank you so much for the support and the very kind words. Highlander 001 drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, happy birthday, Boom. Great show last night. Web Dave became a member last night. Sorry for being late, for being a late sub. Listen, you subbed to Dave, and that's all that matters. And the fact that you were there, I'm sure he appreciates it. So thank you so much
Thanks,
for that.
buddy.
King Webb drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, happy birthday. We need a WB without the D pause. Yeah, WB. Could you imagine how close they were? He got the approval. The only reason why that didn't happen was the IP. Like that was from what we understand the hold up. If they're gonna buy WB, I mean, listen, could you imagine, folks? And again, you don't know where this is on the table because Dave said it. Things are coming. Things are happening. Could you imagine for a second if Ed Boon is first party? I mean, like, what? Man, give that dude whatever he wants. Get NetherRealm Studios and Rocksteady and whoever else you want to get. And just I think that once this deal is signed next week, it's on like Donkey Kong, folks. I don't think we get any announcements this year. But I think that there are deals that are happening right now. And again, shout out, and I hope that Microsoft steps in. Obviously, you saw the reports that Crystal Dynamics is hit with layoffs. Eidos Montreal is hit with layoffs. These are two studios that are working on two major first-party IP. I really hope Microsoft adds them to Xbox Game Studios, man. Like I really do. Like those are like the two heartbreak moments for me. Those studios are legit fan-freaking-tastic. Jonas the Dad drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Sean Layden to run ABK for Xbox, just saying, I would love that, but he just got hired by Tencent, and he's getting a lot of money from them. Someone said it. Is it a super chat? Look, I want to read. I'm going to continue reading. Someone said, and if you missed the island, first of all, a couple of things. One thing, and this is more of a serious note. Shout out to Wilmy Hood. Obviously, he's going through some serious things medically. He has a big procedure coming up in October. Of course, I know Wilmy Hood personally. Hopefully, he is going to be okay. Obviously, I'm going to reach out to him personally because we talk regularly anyway. So shout out to send your love and prayers and to Wilmy Hood. And I have to say this publicly because they're my brothers. Shout out to the Iron Lords. I mean, they just crossed 20K live on the air with Peter Moore, who is like that's Peter Moore part 2. And they got him to come once, pause, and they got him to come back another time. And Peter is just an amazing guy. Someone had said it in the chat. I'm not sure who said it. I will give you credit. Could you imagine if Peter Moore came back to run Activision? That would be freaking, because I know that there was some real big trollery going on over the weekend that somehow Bobby K was going to replace Phil Spencer. Oh my God. Don't say those things in public. Erase your account. You look like a boob. Don't do stuff like that. I mean, come on. People actually went with that. It's scary. It's terrifying. It is what it is. But yeah. Highlander 001 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Mike Ybarra should be the head of the ABK. Prove me wrong. I like the pick. But he's obviously the president of Blizzard. I don't know if he would take on that position because Activision, King has its own, CEO. Obviously, Mike Ybarra is the head of Blizzard. I don't know. I mean, I love Sarah Bond for it, to be honest with you. I'm such a big fan of her, and I think that she is just an amazing. She's a presence. Like she's a killer. Don't let that beautiful smile fool you. She'll cut your throat. But I don't know if I would like her for that position. I really want to see that. I personally think she's going to take over for Phil, whenever that is. Is that 5 years from now? Is that 6 years from now? I don't know. I think she is going to be the head of Microsoft Gaming. That's just my take on it. But I don't know who I'd like for Activision. I will say that I do want Bobby K out of there forthwith. The guy is, he is who he is. He's going to get his golden parachute. He is someone that needs to be cut away. He needs to be cut out of Activision because of his shenanigans. So hopefully, the sooner this deal gets done, the quicker he gets his golden parachute, goes and buys an island, and we'll never hear from him again. Big Mad Mo drops a very generous. Oh no, first of all, he's been a channel member for 17 months. Mo, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. He says, "Happy birthday, Boom, and hello to the panel. P.S. has a new PlayStation has a new face, and it's gas because the gas face. I like what you did there. They were late to the party. I'm eating good with Game Pass, though. Yeah, Game Pass has been just crazy good." Deron James. Deron, welcome to the program, brother. He drops very generous $2 super chat. Says, "Happy birthday, Boom." Brother, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Your baby's Farva. What's going on, brother? He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Happy birthday." Thank you for that. Highlander 001 drops not one, but two $5 super chats. He says, "Jim Ryan turned down a 7-year deal for all ABK games and having them PlayStation Plus for a 10-year Call of Duty deal. I think Jim gave up the marketing rights." Yeah, there's no doubt. Based on what he said during the hearing, he definitely gave up the marketing rights. His other one says, "Just look how Microsoft handled Bethesda games after the ZeniMax acquisition closed. I'm sure we will see a roundtable with Activision as well." Yes, I believe that we're going to be seeing that sooner than later. Spartan661 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Happy birthday, Boom, brother. Thank you so much for that." And of course, the generosity. Hargeet Chani drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Who's with me on the campaign to get Peter Moore to run ABK?" That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I read earlier. I love the pick. He says, hashtag bring Peter Moore back to Xbox. I don't know where he's going to get a tattoo. Maybe he's going to get one, on his back that says Call of Duty or something like that. I don't know, but Peter Moore would be a force. He would be a force to be reckoned with as the head of Activision. I love the pick. Jimbo Jangles, good friend of mine, all the way from the Colorado Rockies. He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom and crew, I got a crazy morning going on, so I'll have to catch up with this episode later. Hopefully everything's okay. Just wanted to pop in and say happy Monday, and you're a blessing to many." Later, guys. But that's for very kind words. I don't really think I do a lot but talk about video games, but that's very kind of you to say. Clad Set drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Happy birthday, Mr. Boomstick." Thank you so much for that. Highlander 001 drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Did you hear Sony may have been hacked?" Yeah, I actually have the report from VGC. Read it live on the air. It says a ransomware group claims to have breached all of Sony's systems. This is coming the way of VGC, which of course is videogameschronicles.com. It was posted today, and it says it was written by Tom Ivan. I like Tom and the way he writes. So, yep. There you go, folks. Ransomware group ransomed.vc claimed to have successfully breached Sony's group and is threatening to sell a cache of data stolen from the Japanese company. That sucks. That's why I don't have anything on Sony's servers because, well, that happened once and I didn't want it to happen again. Jack Knight drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "They would love to see King David back here." Boom. Yes. Well, we've been trying. It's just his work schedule is bonkers. For this Friday's Mr. Boom's birthday bash, it's our 6th annual one. He's usually on that show. I'm going to reach out to him and see if we can get him to potentially come on and hold the line as he does. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Remember, narrative Xbox and Game Pass is not profitable and they're in trouble. Xbox made more profit than PlayStation. Is PlayStation in trouble? PS fans are not enough. They are certainly not enough because Jim Ryan told them that they weren't enough, and that's why he has a service, but he also raised it by $40 and he's not giving day and date. So yeah, Jimbo doesn't care. He just wants money. And again, I get it's a business. Web Dave, let's get into Hellblade 2. This is a really big deal. The fact that we know that they're playing through the game, and I sent that as it comes the way of a tweet. So
Mm-hmm.
let me just bring up that tweet from Ninja Theory. Let me find it right here. Here it is. Now they posted this on September 22nd, folks, and it says, again, this is from the official Twitter account of Ninja Theory, which of course is Xbox first party. And if you ask some PlayStation players, Hellblade 2 coming to a PlayStation near you because they're owed it. Remember, that's actually people. I've actually saw people the conversation happening. Dave, we laugh, right? It says this.
Yeah.
Nothing beats getting everyone together to play through the game. So scandalous. And it's the whole it's a giant, it looks like a giant hangar is what it looks like. The screen is blurred and it's packed with at least 50 plus people. What are they playing through? Not Hellblade 1. They're playing through Hellblade 2, folks. So the question, Dave, is obviously Hellblade 2 not coming this year because it's been confirmed by Microsoft that it's coming next year. We didn't know when. I'm starting to believe in my heart of hearts that this is going to open up the 2024 campaign for Xbox with this quote unquote Sony banger, or of course, according to Cognito of the Iron Lords, the hashtag just one. This is going to be it. It's going to have the combat that we want. I've heard some rumblings that it's, God of War-esque in regards to its size and scope and scale. Let's talk about it, Dave. Is it time for Xbox players to get excited about first party?
No, well, yeah. If you're not, I don't know where you've been or what you're expecting, but it's all good in the hood, as they say. It is. Oh man, yeah. That it pretty much lets everybody know that they are going to be at the VGAs with a trailer, and probably most likely a release date, but at least a trailer for sure. It's already gone into supposedly, from things that we've heard from some people, that it's gone into final build playthroughs so that they
Yep.
can clean up and polish, as it were. So yeah, and Microsoft, I think, learned their lesson. If it takes a little longer to let things cook, to get things to be more polished and get things better out the door, that's what they want to do. But I think this game's been further along than we've been led to believe for a while now. So I think that it's I think it's ready to go, and I think the VGAs is probably the best place to show it off. So that's probably what we're going to get, and that really gives confidence to the team and to the people that have Game Pass, that that there's some big things coming. Yeah, it's awesome, and it was a great tweet because it's got us talking about it, but we still don't know anything. but yeah, it really it makes sense that it's going to be an announcement soon, and I would assume the VGAs is probably the best place to do it. And maybe what some people I've heard call for, this would be like maybe the official announcement, the VGAs, or at least the a video with more in depth, showing a trailer type thing, showing more of the game, so maybe some gameplay, maybe a little bit of more of what it's going to do, and then maybe February we get or January we get one of those the dev
Yeah, the dev diaries, the dev yes,
diary,
yeah,
yep, and then at that we get a release date. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, obviously we want it to come out sooner than later, but continue to build the suspense, show people what it's going to be. I think that'll just put the hype through the roof for the game to be coming out. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Well, I mean, what we do know is Hellblade 2 is going to be out first part of the year. I think first quarter. I don't know when. I like the February date. I that for me personally, I think that hits perfect. Towerborn, which I think if you want to know more about Towerborn, go check out an article. I don't have it in front of me. I will add it to the show notes. It was written by Jez Corden. I don't know about you. That Towerborn that's going to be the sleeper hit of. I think it's going to be one of those games that we're talking about for game of the year at the end of the year. Towerborn is a beat 'em up RPG that has cell shaded graphics that looks so freaking good. It's criminal. That's how good it looks. And of course, Avowed is expected for holiday of 24. And so what else? Well, I think there's one more in there. Clockwork Revolution, I think, is the one that we're going to get next year. I think that's going to, and that's another. That's huge, man. That's going to be big, and that's 3 new IPs and a sequel.
And
that's
there
not
another
even.
and there another flight simulator coming out, a new one.
There is another flight simulator coming out. Yeah, that is it. There's a lot to get excited about. For me personally, though, I have some super high hopes, Fuzzy, for Ninja Theory, because one, they're, in my opinion, are as talented as Naughty Dog when it comes to their mocap. We know how serious they take it. We know how small the studio is, but somehow they can make these big bombastic games. We know that they have 2 games in development, one of which is more of a horror-based game, and now obviously Hellblade 2. I mean, you saw the tweet. It's been making the rounds. Everyone's reporting on it. They're playing Hellblade 2. Let's just call a spade a spade. This is big. What are your thoughts on them playing? What does getting the gang to do a playthrough tell you about where the game is?
It tells me that it's a lot closer to wrapping up than we originally thought. Like it's definitely something that I expect that we'll see, probably the first quarter next year. Although, as a side note, we did kind of see something similar for Clockwork Revolution, where In Exile had other teams looking at their game as well, where they were doing kind of a playthrough. So that one, I was originally thinking 2025. That one might also be a 2024 one as well. But it's great to see that they're already doing a playable demo. Yes, they blurred out the screen so we can't see it. I'm pretty sure we'll see it at like the Video Game Awards this year, and they'll have like a release date or at least a developer direct date. That's what we'll probably see at the end of the trailer at the VGAs. But man, it's great to see that this game is coming here soon. We're already talking about a stacked 2024 year after 2023 has been, even with one blemish, it's still a solid year for first party and third party deals and things along those lines. So even next year will be even bigger, I think, overall. But it's I can't wait to play this game. Like I actually wound up buying it twice. Like I bought it on PS4 when it first came out, and then when it came to Xbox, I wound up buying it again.
So did I. I bought it twice also. Yeah, happily bought it because both times were great. Yeah.
But like you said, headphones are a must. Well, it's not a must, but it definitely adds to the environment or the ambiance, I guess you could say, for that game. So headphones definitely are a must-have type of thing. But man, I'm curious to see what this thing is going to look like. But it being a bigger game, there's still going to be puzzles. We're going to see a lot more combat. I want to see how many different locations and environments and stuff that we go through now. But
the biome difference, I think, needs to be like a top tier change from the original. The original was very, a couple of colors and a very similar scope and scale. The puzzles were mind numbing and not in a good way. And there were a couple of times where I was stuck and Mrs. Boom would come in because she's the master of all puzzles, and I'm like, could you? And she's like, oh yeah, turn it this way, and there it is. I'm like, oh my god, how did I didn't see that? Because I said, well, you're not a puzzle master, so there you go. I think that needs improvement for sure. I get why they did it, and I get how, you got to remember, folks. Like I said, 24. I think it's like it was anywhere between 16 and 20 people that made Hellblade 1. Literally on like a Dollar Tree budget. I mean, that's the truth. And that game won awards. It won BAFTAs. It was in the Game of the Year conversation. It was, it was a quote unquote Sony-esque type of game because it was exclusive at one point. So
yeah, it's an awesome game. The first one, and I expect that 2 will be even more so. But man, or I'm figuring mid-March is when we actually get the release date, but or not the release date, but that's when it will release. But Dev Direct late January, early February, and then VGAs for the combat trailer and Dev Diary or Dev Direct date. So
yeah,
fingers crossed we get that soon.
it would be pretty epic if we got that. Maybe we get that in they open up the year. We get that in some information in January. Then they potentially release the game. And, hey, this is what the game looks like. Here's a direct, boom, and it drops February or March. It's definitely coming. And again, I don't know for sure, folks. I could be 1,000% wrong. In my heart of hearts, I believe first quarter of the year because there's a lot of releases coming in next year. We kind of know what Nintendo's forecast to be a little bit like. There's going to have a new console next year. There's probably going to be a new Mario attached to that console. So we have some idea of what Nintendo's doing. We literally have zero idea what is happening with Sony and Microsoft. Well, I mean, Xbox seems like it's going to be once again the place to be in 2024. And at that point, Bethesda's locked up. All these other singular studios that they purchased are locked up. ABK is closed. And who else is going to be added to the mix? Well, I think quite a few. If they're not already doing deals that they just can't announce because ABK isn't done yet. But I want to reel it back in. Crazy Lou Gaming. Let's talk about Ninja Theory getting all the developers together to do a playthrough of a game. I don't say what game, but I think it's safe to assume that it is Hellblade 2. If they're doing a playthrough with the entire team, that is to show everyone what they worked on, finally put together in a full format. And they said play through the game, which means that the game is done. Now, we don't know how big the game is going to be. We've heard rumors and rumblings that it is going to be much larger in scope and scale than the original. We've even heard some talk in some back room or back alleys, though the words God of War, esque, if you will, tells me that this game could be one of those big bombastic games. What are your thoughts on it being done? Does that mean that we get this at the Game Awards? Does that mean that we get this in the first quarter of 24?
My thoughts exactly. I think that game's ready to go. I mean, if they show like a blurred screen and Ninja Theory in there and got a bunch of devs to play the game, I think that game is ready to go. I mean, they've been showing us videos like little titsy bits of it, but hey, they've been great. Now we got to see the combat. That's something we got to see.
A lot of people asking for it, dude. Yep.
Yes. And will we see it at the Game Awards? That's a big question. But here's my question, though. Besides that, will we have another showcase in January? Will it be Shadow Drop during that showcase in January if Xbox has a showcase this January? Because they did a showcase this year, which was amazing because, hey, we saw what happened in the Game Awards. They're like, where is Xbox? It didn't show anything. But all of a sudden, they came out with a cool showcase. They gave us an awesome showcase. We loved it, which was in January. So I think if they do another one, it's going to be there in January. And right then and there, they will announce when that game will come out. And hey, I have my crystal ball here. Let me ask it real quick. My Xbox crystal ball. Let me just ask it real quick. What you say? It's coming out when? Oh, you agree with Fuzzy? Yeah, he said my crystal ball agrees with you, Fuzzy. He says it's gonna come out before July, first quarter. Let's go for it, man. That's the time where that game is gonna come out because hey, we got Avowed coming up next year, pretty much, I think, man. And that Avowed game, I know people just like, it looked awful, but I don't believe, I don't believe that game's gonna come out. I think that game's gonna come out awesome. We got Avowed. We got so much great games coming out next year. It's going to be crazy. So, yes, it agrees with Fuzzy. I think it's going to come out first quarter. That's what I believe. And they will show it in January. That's what I think. January, because for the Game Awards, I don't know. I'm a bit tipsy on that because last year didn't show anything, and for the Summer Game Fest, it didn't pretty much show a lot of stuff there. So I don't know what's gonna happen. So if they show the Game Awards, cool. But if not, we will probably see it on Xbox Showcase in January, which I believe they will have another one because this year's was great.
Fuzzy, aren't
Yeah.
you always tipsy? I'm just
Maybe,
come on, what's out
maybe.
now?
A little.
You know what? Okay. So I'll say this. You make a interesting point there, Fuzz. Crazy that you're not sure about the Game Awards, but for me personally, considering how Hellblade was originally announced right after the console announcement of the Series X at the Game Awards, right? Even to the shock and surprise of Jeff Keighley himself. Like I don't think he actually knew they were going to show this because you saw his reaction. He was like, because they did mock up. Well, we learned that they did mock up. It was supposed to be something Game Pass related, right? And they hid even it from him. Then again, we got a chance the next year to see it to return to the Game Awards. I think personally, folks, and let me know what you think in the chat. Is it fitting for you to close out 2023? Starfield is a hit. Motorsport is going to be a hit. Potentially, and again, I say potentially, Call of Duty drops in Xbox Game Pass in November. We don't know, but I'm just saying, what if it did? And then obviously December Game Awards, right? We get a chance, and I say fitting because I like the full circle ideology. It originally was announced at the Game Awards in a surprise fashion. We got an update to it a couple of years later, a year later or so, or a year and change later. And of course, 2023 closing out the year in the Game Awards, and Microsoft and specifically Xbox is going to have some big titles in there. Starfield's going to be a part of the conversation. Hi-Fi Rush is going to be a part of the conversation. Forza Motorsport is going to be a part of the conversation. It would be fitting, at least in my humble opinion, that they bring it full circle and they give us, and I like what Fuzzy said originally, maybe we get a combat trailer. We actually get to see what the combat looks like from afar. What is she fighting? Who is she fighting? How many people is she fighting? Is anybody fighting with her on her side? We don't know any of that, right? But then on the same announcement, expected the developer direct to go in depth January, which is the next month. I think Microsoft could set a tone, close out the year with some really big first party showings. Xbox Game Pass is making big bucks for them. They're selling consoles left, right, and center. And obviously they closed ABK and open up the year. We start off with a developer direct and we get a release date. I think that's what you listen. The Game Awards is basically advertising. And if you want people to come to your box, at that point, Call of Duty is first party. Microsoft has marketing rights to it. You market the shit out of Call of Duty on Xbox, in Xbox Game Pass, and then you have a bombastic trailer or review or reveal trailer of the combat in Hellblade 2, and the announcement of the developer direct for January. That's how you close out 2023. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today. This is again one of the smaller shows, only meant to be 90 minutes. Hopefully you enjoyed enough to hit the like button. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please, for the love of Joe, consider subscribing. We are on the hunt for 14K. We are almost at the 13.5 halfway point. I'd love to hit it by the end of the year, but I'd love to hit it sooner. And with your help, we can do it. And look, I think the value that we put into this show, Mrs. Boomstick and I, is very apparent. We do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5 different shows, all different panels. And guess what? We don't sell hate, a hate narrative, or we don't hate monger to get you to like or click on the video to check it out. Let's get to the outros. We'll start first with Fuzzy Belvedere, I know you're powering your way through Starfield in 3 separate playthroughs, PS, by the way, which is just complete madness. In to get yourself ready for, which of course you're a racing guy. Forza Motorsport, you've been waiting for years. It's upon us. It's going to be one of the biggest racers of the year, no doubt about it. It's probably going to be one of the most graphically intense racers Microsoft has ever put out. Sell the brand, tell everyone for the best place for anything and everything racing. And more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Just always want to start off with thanking you for having me on here. It's always awesome being on here with you guys on Monday afternoons, breaking news and all, and everything that's been great with Xbox these past few weeks, and pretty much for this whole year and moving forward, it'll be continuing. But man, Forza's right around the corner. Getting real antsy, excited and antsy. Just I can't wait. I got to hurry up and finish Starfield so I can have that cleared and be able to focus on Forza. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, including Forza, which is right around the corner, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on YouTube. Just search Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word, or Fuzzy_Belvedere, and you'll find me. You can also find me on FSP later tonight on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then look forward to seeing everybody in the chat, hopefully right back here for Breakfast with Boom at 10 a.m. on Friday. Look forward to seeing you there. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. And Web Dave, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone for the best place for all of the greatest one-on-one interviews that you did not know you needed in your life. And more importantly, talk about last night's show where you had a panel of panels, of course. And where can people subscribe to your incredible YouTube channel, as well as reach out to you on social media?
Thank you, Boom. Appreciate you so much for having me on. And happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We keep getting older, but we keep getting better too. There you go.
Level up. So, yay.
Leveled up. There you go. There you go. Gosh, so last night's show was fantastic. It's even the replays right now, our numbers are going through the roof, which we appreciate that. Fuzzy was on. Oh man, it was great. We had the dynamic duo of Doodle and C Money. The power couple was there, and of course, Lady Foxfire was on, and she was absolutely amazing. Yeah, hopefully she'll get back on here to Boom. She's great, and it was a fun show. And in Retry, of course, being Retry, we had so many great topics to go through, and it was fun. We even got a little salty some parts, but you know, well deserved. When somebody just in your face with some salty, sometimes you just got to throw it back at them. So we did have a little fun. So, but yeah, it was great time. And thanks again for having me on here. And let's do it, man. This show's gonna be great this week. Nothing but good news coming our way, I have a feeling.
Yeah, good news after good news after good news. And of course, if you're playing on Team Xbox, there's a lot to get excited about. And speaking of Xbox, the Xbox International representative known as Crazy Lou Gaming, he said he was in his birthday suit. I'm disappointed, but we have him here anyway. Crazy Lou Gaming, sell your brand, brother. Talk about the Xbox International podcast, and more importantly, where can people reach out to you and potentially see you in the shower singing on social media?
Oh, Mr. BoomStick, nobody wants to see me in a birthday suit. I think if I do that, we'll probably get this channel banned and probably get my channel banned too. So we don't want that. But anyways, Mr. BoomStick, happy birthday to you. Hope you have a lot of fun today. Have a lot of pizza, a lot of cake, and make sure you get those candy bags, man. Those candy bags are the best to give out to the people after they leave the birthday, man. You got to give those candy bags. But anyways, you can find me.
They're known. Yes, absolutely.
You can find me at Crazy Louis Gaming over there on Twitter, where I say good morning and do all sorts of crazy stuff. I know I've been out busy lately because I'm remodeling, almost done. Oh, I just hope I finish all that stuff. But yes, you can find me over there, Crazy Louis Gaming over there on Twitter. Xbox International Podcast on Wednesdays with Sour Blow, Silent Supper, and the Big Pooh at 7 p.m. ETU over here on the YouTube channel, and sometimes on Fridays at the Xbox International Podcast en Español with Eternal Shaddai and ASCAP Gaming. And as always, BoomStick, thank you for always having me here, hanging with you guys on Monday on the Xbox Lunch Break Special at noon. You guys are awesome. You guys are fantastic. And chat, love you all to death. Like always, you guys are awesome.
Well, thank you for being a part of this show each and every week, and of course, love the work that not only yourself and Web Dave and Fuzzy are doing, but obviously a big shout out to the over 600 people that were here today. Thank you to all of the birthday wishes. I'm sorry if I didn't get to say hello to everybody individually. It's just been kind of one of those days, and a big thank you to all of the super chats for today. We do greatly appreciate that. And again, I do want to remind everybody. Friday morning's breakfast with Boom. Mrs. Boom and I are doing the 6th annual Boom's birthday bash, where yes, today is my birthday, but we are giving away the prizes. That's right, folks. We are giving away 10 $50 gift cards that are going to be picked live on the air during a 2-hour show. And that's just the tip of the spear, so to speak, because we have another birthday bash for Mrs. Boom coming in the first week of November. And that's going to be on a breakfast at Boom. And the big one, folks, and this is the biggest and most amount of money we've ever given away at any one time for the Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick, which of course is going to be towards the holiday. And obviously we'll be celebrating all of the holidays, whether you celebrate Kwanzaa, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, whether you celebrate Christmas, or whether you're just happy that it's the end of the year and you can move on to 2024. We are giving away, folks, in a 2-hour show. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. We're giving away $1,500 worth of prizes in one show. That is the most we've ever given out. Last year was $1,000. We decided to up the ante by doing an additional $500. And that is because of all the super chats. That is all the channel memberships. We take those monies after Google gets their 30%, we tuck them away, and we have these big giveaways it's just our way of giving back to the community who is so generous towards me and Mrs. Boom for the work that we do here at Double Barrel Gaming. So, of course, I want to say a big thank you to all the super chats once again. And I am going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special.